Story 1. The Fake Delivery. Picture this. You're alone in a remote rental house late at night, waiting for takeout when the doorbell rings. You open it expecting food, and instead a stranger in a hoodie stares back, empty-handed, eyes cold and calculating, as if he's already measuring whether you'll let him inside. That was the night I learned some predators don't break in. They knock first, testing how easily the door swings open. For years, I'd been trapped in a cramped studio apartment in downtown Portland, Oregon. Thin walls vibrating with neighbors' arguments, constant honking and sirens bleeding through the windows, the endless thump of footsteps overhead. I wasn't young anymore. The city energy that once thrilled me now just exhausted me. So when I found a tiny one-story house for rent on the outskirts of a sleepy rural town in eastern Oregon, I jumped at it. The place was nothing fancy. Faded blue siding, a sagging front porch, surrounded by dense stands of fir and pine that blocked out most of the sky. The gravel driveway wound a quarter-mile through trees before reaching the road, and the nearest neighbor was a good half-mile away. It felt like true solitude, exactly what my burned-out soul needed. Moving in was bittersweet. I unpacked slowly, savoring the quiet. No more hearing someone else's TV through the wall. No more dodging crowds on the sidewalk. I landed a warehouse job 30 minutes away. Long hours on my feet, loading trucks under fluorescent lights. By the time I got home each evening, I was drained, both physically and mentally. My routine became simple: shower, order food from one of the few restaurants willing to drive this far, collapse on the couch with whatever stream show could numb my brain. Late October brought early darkness. The trees turned golden crimson, then bare, and the wind howled through the branches like something lonely. One Thursday night in particular stands out. I'd had an especially grueling shift, inventory day, endless boxes, a supervisor riding everyone hard. I pulled into the driveway just after 9:30 p.m., the headlights sweeping across the dark windows of the empty house. My boots were caked in warehouse dust. My back ached. All I wanted was hot food and silence. I kicked off my shoes, changed into comfortable sweats, and called in an order for pad thai and spring rolls from a little family-run place I discovered. No delivery apps reach this far out. You phoned directly and hoped they were in a good mood. They said 30 to 40 minutes. I remember thinking that was fine. I'd earned the right to wait. Around 10:15, the doorbell rang. I glanced at the clock and smiled faintly. "Fast tonight," I muttered, padding to the front door in socks. I didn't turn on the porch light, habit from the city where you never announce yourself too brightly. Instead, I pressed my eye to the peephole. A man stood there, mid-30s maybe, average height, dark hoodie pulled up, hands jammed deep in the pockets of worn jeans. No food bag, no insulated carrier, no logo on his clothes. Just standing there, staring straight at the door like he knew I was looking. My stomach tightened, but exhaustion dulled my instincts. I kept the chain latched and cracked the door a few inches. Cold night air rushed in. "Hey, you have my Thai order?" He didn't answer immediately. His eyes flicked down to the chain, then back to my face. A slow nod. "Yeah, just need to double-check the address before I grab the bag from the car." The words sounded rehearsed, flat. I saw his car now, a dark sedan parked crooked at the end of the driveway, headlights off, no restaurant sign on top, no steaming food visible through the windows. Everything clicked at once, sharp and nauseating. This wasn't a driver. This was someone seeing if I'd open the door wide, if I lived alone, if I was an easy mark. I didn't slam it. I didn't want to provoke him. I just said, calm but firm, "Bring the food to the door, or I'm calling the police right now." His expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes. Annoyance? Calculation? He muttered something I couldn't catch, maybe a curse, and turned away, walking slowly down the steps and along the gravel driveway until the darkness swallowed him. I closed the door, locked it, deadbolt and chain, then leaned against it, heart hammering. My hands shook as I dialed the restaurant. The owner answered, concerned. "Your order's still here. Driver's about to leave now." Confirmation hit like a punch. That man had never been coming with food. I called the non-emergency police line next. The dispatcher was kind, took every detail, description, car, exact time. She said they'd log it and increase patrols, but since nothing physical happened, no immediate response. I understood, but understanding didn't stop the fear. 20 minutes later, the real driver arrived, a familiar older man who always chatted about his grandkids. I tipped him double, barely managing small talk. Ate the food mechanically in the kitchen, every light in the house blazing. Tried watching TV, but every creak of the settling house made me jump. Around midnight, volume low, lights off except the TV glow. I heard it, a faint scraping at the back of the house. Metal on wood, deliberate. I muted the sound instantly. Silence stretched, agonizing. Then again, scrape, scrape, directly at the back door. I stared at the hallway leading to the kitchen. The doorknob turned slowly, once, twice, testing the lock. Someone was out there trying to get in. I grabbed my phone, retreated to the bedroom, locked that door too, and whispered into 911. Grabbed the heaviest knife from the block on my way. Sat on the floor with my back against the bed, knife in one hand, phone in the other, listening to the dispatcher's calm instructions. "Stay where you are. Units are en route." It felt like forever, 15, maybe 20 minutes, before red and blue lights silently swept across the windows. An officer announced himself at the front. I let him in, voice trembling as I explained everything. They searched the house, the backyard, the tree line with flashlights. No one. But at the back door, fresh pry marks around the lock. Deep scratches where a flat tool had been wedged in. The officers were thorough, sympathetic, connected it to my earlier call. Promised extra patrols for the next few nights. But when they left, the house felt enormous and empty. I didn't sleep, just sat up with every light on, knife beside me, watching shadows shift. The next few nights passed quietly. I installed motion lights, bought a cheap security camera, jumped at every notification, told myself he'd moved on. Twice contacting police would scare off anyone sane. Then 4 nights later, I woke abruptly around 2 a.m. to sirens, multiple sets, wailing closer, then racing past the house toward the main road. I peeked through the blinds, 3 sheriff's cruisers, lights flashing, speeding into the night. I figured a drunk driver or domestic call somewhere else and tried to go back to sleep. Less than 30 minutes later, knock, knock, knock. Authoritative, no hesitation. I crept to the door, heart in my throat. 2 deputies on the porch. One held up a phone with a photo. The same man, hoodie guy, unmistakable face now captured on a neighbor's doorbell cam 2 miles away. They'd caught him mid-break-in. Tools, gloves, everything. My reports helped tie him to attempted burglaries in the area. He was in custody. You won't have to worry about him anymore. Relief flooded me so hard I nearly cried right there on the porch. They didn't need more from me that night. I closed the door, finally breathed, and somehow slept until morning. I moved out 2 months later. The quiet I'd craved turned oppressive after that. Every rustle in the trees sounded like footsteps. Some places are peaceful because nothing ever happens there. Others are quiet because no one would hear you if it did. Story 2, The Circle in the Dark. Imagine sprinting through pitch-black hallways while heavy footsteps thunder behind you and a voice hisses from the shadows, "I should have finished you when I had the chance." That's the night my friends and I realized some abandoned places aren't empty at all. Back when we were teenagers living in upstate New York, my buddies and I were obsessed with urban exploration. There were plenty of forgotten factories, old hospitals, and shuttered schools scattered across the region. Perfect playgrounds for restless kids with too much time and not enough sense. Most of the spots were boring: crumbling concrete, rusted machinery, broken windows. But every once in a while, we'd find something that gave us a real rush. One late August evening, we decided to hit an abandoned high school in a quiet town about 40 minutes from Albany. I won't name it. Anyone who's poked around derelict buildings in the Hudson Valley probably knows the one I mean. We'd seen pictures online: overgrown courtyards, peeling lockers, a massive auditorium with seats still bolted to the floor. It looked perfect. There were 4 of us that night: me, Alex, Marcus, and Tyler. Marcus and I were into street art, so we packed a backpack full of spray cans in dark reds and silvers. Tyler had some leftover fireworks from a summer barbecue, big sparkling fountains he couldn't resist bringing. Our usual plan was simple: sneak in, wander around, tag a few walls, climb to the roof, set off the fireworks, then bolt before anyone showed up. Alex drove us in his beat-up sedan and parked a few streets away on a dead-end road lined with overgrown maple trees. The chain-link fence around the school had already been sliced open, someone else's invitation we were happy to accept. The building loomed larger in person than in the photos: 3 stories of faded brick, shattered windows like empty eyes staring back at us. We slipped through the fence and found an unlocked side door hanging slightly ajar. The moment we stepped inside, the air felt thick and stale, like the school had been holding its breath for decades. Our heavy-duty flashlights cut bright beams through the dust, revealing hallways stripped bare, exposed pipes, dangling insulation, shards of ceiling tile crunching under our sneakers. We explored the ground floor first, marveling at the huge gymnasium with its warped wooden floor and sagging basketball hoops. Graffiti covered almost every surface. Some pieces were stunning, others just mindless scribbles. Marcus and I paused to admire a few, but we kept moving. The basement was the worst, flooded in places, mold climbing the walls, the air so damp it clung to your skin. In one storage room, we found a giant chalk-drawn symbol on the concrete floor, a 5-pointed star inside a circle. Typical edgy teen stuff, but it still sent a little chill down my spine. We didn't stay long. Up on the 3rd floor, we found a classroom with one completely blank wall, pristine white, begging for color. Marcus and I grinned like kids and started sketching out a piece while Alex and Tyler went ahead to scout roof access. We lost track of time, lost in the hiss of spray paint and the thrill of leaving our mark. When we finished the first throw-up, Marcus wanted to keep going, but I stepped out into the hallway to check out other artwork under the beam of my flashlight. That's when Marcus called out, sounding genuinely pissed. "Dude, stop screwing around!" I walked back confused, and he accused me of hiding his backpack. I swore I hadn't touched it. I'd been 10 feet away the whole time. We searched the room, shining lights into every corner. Nothing. The bag with all our remaining paint was just gone. We gave up tagging and went looking for the others, figuring Tyler had pulled one of his classic pranks. The top floor had no obvious roof hatch, so we wandered, opening doors, growing quieter with every empty classroom. In a small side office, I stopped dead. On the far wall was another 5-pointed star, only this one was painted in fresh, glossy black. Thick drips ran down like blood. And in the corner sat Marcus's backpack, placed neatly as if someone had left it there on purpose. Marcus snatched it up, muttering, "Tyler's taken this way too far." Even for Tyler, who loved messing with us, this felt wrong, too deliberate, too creepy. We left the room in uneasy silence, calling out softly for the others. Then we heard it, fast footsteps echoing toward us from the far end of the hall. Alex and Tyler appeared, faces pale, motioning frantically for us to follow. We didn't ask questions, we ran. As we bolted down corridor after corridor, Alex gasped out pieces of what happened. They'd gone down a floor looking for us when Tyler heard strange metallic clinking from a darkened classroom. Curious, they peeked inside and saw 3 hooded figures sitting in a tight circle on the floor, hunched over something small, coins or stones maybe, passing them silently between gloved hands. The moment the figures noticed them, they scrambled up and gave chase. We got turned around in the maze of hallways, hearts pounding, lungs burning. Finally, we paused in a corner to catch our breath, listening. No footsteps. We crept downstairs, convinced we'd reach the ground level in safety. Then came the sound, a sharp, rhythmic hissing ahead in the dark, like an angry cat, but deeper, human. We froze. From the blackness came a low, gravelly voice. "I should have cut you when I had the chance." We exploded into a sprint. Now we could clearly hear multiple sets of boots pounding behind us, voices shouting threats. How they gut us, how every exit was watched. Pure terror. I was certain we were dead. But somehow Alex found the right turn, and there was our entry door, moonlight spilling through the gap. We burst outside, scrambled through the fence, piled into the car and peeled away. No one followed into the street. Later, driving in shaken silence, Tyler explained more. The figures hadn't just chased, they'd toyed with us first. The missing bag, the fresh symbol, the way one of them must have slipped away to cut us off downstairs. They probably thought the building was their trap, that we'd never find our way out before they closed in. We never returned. Sometimes I still dream about those hooded shapes and that dripping star on the wall. Story 3, The Switched Drinks. You're at a crowded bar, flirting with a charming stranger who buys you a drink. You take one sip and realize minutes later that he's the one collapsing unconscious because you cleverly swapped glasses. That's the night I accidentally saved myself and my friend from something truly evil. My name is Emily. I'm 25 now, in my second year of law school in Manhattan. But this happened the summer before, after surviving the soul-crushing first year. 14-hour study days, no sleep, constant pressure. When classes ended, I fled back home to Connecticut, crashing at my parents' house to save money and reconnect with old friends. It felt like coming up for air. Weekends meant escaping to the same handful of bars a few towns over. Loud, crowded, cheap drinks, zero pretension. There was one spot we loved most, a big brick building with neon signs, sticky floors, a dance floor that got wild after midnight. Sarah, my best friend since middle school, and I were there almost every Saturday. Sarah's the responsible one. Good job in marketing, always the designated driver, rarely lets loose. I'm usually the chaos agent. That night, though, roles reversed in the worst way. We'd been there maybe an hour, sipping vodka sodas, people watching, when 2 guys approached. Ryan and Connor, early 20s, clean cut but not stuffy, easy confidence without arrogance. Ryan had dark hair and a quick smile. Connor was blonde, quieter, intense eyes. No immediate red flags, no creepy staring, no pushy lines. They just joined our conversation naturally. We talked for hours, longer than any bar chat ever lasts. Music thumped, bodies pressed close in the crowd, but our little circle felt insulated. Sarah laughed more than I'd seen in months, leaning into Connor, touching his arm. Ryan teased me about law school, asked real questions, seemed genuinely interested. It felt fun, safe even. Eventually, Sarah grabbed my wrist and dragged me to the bathroom. In the harsh fluorescent light, she whispered, wide-eyed, I think I want to go home with Connor tonight. I blinked, stunned. This was not Sarah behavior. You sure? I asked. She nodded, cheeks flushed. He's different. I just feel it. I didn't argue. If she was set, I'd be the wing woman. Keep things from going too far off the rails. Walking back, I spotted them across the bar first. Something shifted. They weren't laughing anymore. Heads close together, expressions blank, whispering urgently. The easy vibe was gone. A cold prickle ran down my neck. Instinct, the kind you ignore at your peril. But the second we reached the table, the switch flipped. Smiles back, casual posture. Connor slid drinks forward. 2 rum and cokes, our usual, and 2 bright yellow frozen daiquiris, slushy and sweet, little umbrellas poking out. Definitely not drinks most guys order without irony. Suspicion flared hot. I smiled my sweetest, ditziest smile, the one I sometimes use to disarm guys who underestimate me, and pointed at the frozen ones. Aw, these look way too cute for you two. Don't want anyone thinking you're sipping girly drinks all night. Before they could respond, I smoothly swapped the sets, pushing the daiquiris toward them, keeping the rum and cokes. Took a long, deliberate sip from mine and winked at Ryan. He stared a beat too long, eyes narrowing like he was reassessing me. Then a slow grin. Touché. Picked up the rum and coke and drank. Connor followed. Tension eased. Crisis averted. Or so I thought. We finished the drinks. Connor suggested heading to his place for a nightcap. Everything felt normal again. I reasoned that if they'd planned anything shady, they wouldn't invite us over. We piled into an Uber, the 4 of us laughing like old friends. His apartment was a 2nd-floor unit in a quiet complex 10 minutes away. Inside, surprisingly clean, but eerily sparse. Couch, TV on a stand, 1 folding chair. No art, no photos, no books. Almost like a staging unit, not a lived-in home. Connor grabbed hard seltzers from the fridge, queued up music, kept the energy light. For 20 minutes it was fine, flirting, dancing stupidly, telling stories. Then the shift came fast. Ryan started slurring, swaying. Connor laughed at nothing, eyes glassy. Within minutes, bam, both slumped over on the couch, out cold. Ryan first, head lolling. Connor seconds later, like synchronized collapse. The frozen drinks. They'd spiked the girly ones, expecting us to take them. My swap reversed everything. Sarah, tipsy and confused, rushed to Connor, slapping his face lightly. Hey, wake up! I yanked her back, heart racing, whispered fiercely, I switched the drinks because something felt wrong. I think they put something in the yellow ones. Her face drained of color. Oh my God, she kept repeating, voice breaking. We stood frozen, staring at the unconscious men, the implications sinking in like ice water. Panic battled logic. Part of me wanted to run immediately. Sarah wanted to search. Find pills, powder, anything to prove it. We poked around cautiously. Kitchen drawers empty except for takeout menus. Bedroom bare. Bathroom cabinet, just basic toiletries. No evidence. And lingering felt dangerous. What if they woke up angry? I convinced her. We leave now. Quietly. We slipped out, ordered another Uber from the hallway, hearts pounding until we were safely inside the car speeding away. Morning brought brutal clarity. Hangovers, yes, but we were okay. Safe. We talked for hours. Should we report it? No drugs found, no proof, just strong suspicion and 2 passed-out guys. Police might dismiss it, and the scariest questions lingered. Why drug women already willing to leave with you? What was the real plan once we were helpless? Something far worse than a hookup. And why risk inviting us over if the drugs would hit them too? Did they think their size would keep them conscious long enough to... Finish whatever they intended? We never went to the police. Maybe we should have. I still wrestle with that. But I know one thing. That quick instinct, swapping drinks on a hunch, likely saved us from a nightmare we'd never wake from. I still go out. I still laugh and dance and flirt. But no one, ever, touches my drink but me. And sometimes, in quiet moments, I replay that night and feel the cold brush of something evil that almost had us.